What's good, YouTube? It's your boy 2K, and I'm back with another one. Now, for this one, I had to talk about this fuckery, yo, real talk. Vitali Klitschko seems to think that at age 46, he can avenge another one of his little brother's knockout losses, like he did Corey Saunders, right? By knocking out Anthony Joshua if he were to come out of retirement. Yo, fuck it, hold up, man. Let me just read a quote from him real quick. I quote, "I feel a bit guilty because I told Wladimir in the corner, please don't be so active in round number 6 when Wladimir sent Joshua to the floor. I expect a big muscled athlete to not recover. I was surprised Joshua recovered so fast and stopped Wladimir. If I didn't tell him to stop, then Wladimir might have knocked him out 6 or maybe round number 7. A fight against Joshua is my best wish. I have a feeling I will return to the ring. I have to fight Joshua to bring back the belt to the family. I would knock him out." End quote. Now, ding, 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 ding. Everybody come in. Step into 2K's classroom. It's going to be another history lesson. Before we start clowning Vitali Klitschko, let me tell you who Vitali Klitschko was and why he may or may not be credible. It'll be for you to judge why he may or may not be credible in his statements, right? Now, when the Klitschko brothers were reigning supreme over the heavyweight champion in their particular era, Wladimir Klitschko was the more accomplished of the two fighters, right? He had more titles. He had 3 of the 4 major sanctioning bodies, and Vitali had 1, right? Vitali's actually never held more than 1 at the same time his entire career, I believe, right? So Wladimir was the more accomplished, but there was a general consensus between boxing heads, boxing pundits, boxing enthusiasts that Vitali is the more skilled of the two brothers. There was always a lot of talk, since these two guys were so dominant, that people wanted to see these two fight each other. I didn't, because I always thought it would have been a fixed fight. And Big Brother probably would have let Little Brother win. You know what I'm saying? But if these two actually fought, a lot of people were like, yeah, you know, Vitali would win easily, probably by knockout. And he would have if he actually fought his brother and didn't just let the motherfucker win, right? But it's just the same as, you know, the heavyweight landscape today, right? You got the 3 champions. Anthony Joshua, who holds 2 titles. Joseph Parker, who holds the WBO. Deontay Wilder, who holds the WBC, right? Those are the 3 big motherfuckers at heavyweight. But there's a general consensus, again, amongst boxing heads, enthusiasts, pundits, that the most skilled heavyweight is a guy who's not as accomplished. And that's Luis Ortiz. So a lot of us had the same sentiments about Vitali. The only difference is he was actually a champion, right? Now, when Vitali was active, he won his first world title by knocking out Herbie Hyde, who's a natural cruiserweight, by the way. And 3 rounds back in 1999, he won the WBO title. That's the first title he's ever won. Of course, he loses it to Chris Bird later on. And Chris Bird was a guy that Wladimir Klitschko avenged for Vitali. So when Wladimir made his statements, he said, yo, I avenged, you know, my brother's loss to Corey Sanders, and Wladimir avenged my loss to Chris Bird. So we're known for avenging each other's losses. I must come back and avenge this loss. Now, YouTube, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. I'm not sure if Vitali actually fought Layman Brewster or Ross Purity. Those are 2 other guys that Wladimir has lost to. I'm not sure if he fought those 2 guys or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not looking at it right now. Of course, you know I do all my videos off top. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if he fought those 2 guys. But anyway, he says people know they avenge each other's losses, right? And to be real, Vitali only lost 2 times in his career, and both those 2 losses, right? Both those losses were under controversial circumstances. both those losses, a lot of people believe he was winning those fights. Against Chris Bird, his first loss, he was beating the shit out of Chris Bird. If he didn't knock Chris Bird out, he was getting ready to cruise to a unanimous decision win, right? But I think he dislocated his shoulder. I believe that was the injury. He dislocated his shoulder and was forced to quit on his stool due to that injury, and that's what gave Chris Bird that win, right? Then his second loss with Lennox Lewis, the fight was stopped on cuts. Now, the cut was really bad. They had to stop the fight, right? I mean, it was just an unfortunate situation. Lennox Lewis hit this nigga with a beautiful... He was hitting him with jabs. Hit him with a beautiful straight right. Cut his face all up. Face was fucked up. Looked like a butcher was slicing this nigga dome, giving him $150s across the cheek. You know what I'm saying? So they had to stop the fight. But a lot of people believe, including myself, that Vitali was winning that fight at the time of the stoppage. And if the fight continued on, Vitali probably would have knocked Lennox Lewis out. A lot of people believe that. So, both of his losses are controversial, right? You could say that Vitali really has never been beaten in the ring. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's move back to his resume. He became a champion for the second time. He didn't have the WBO title. He had already lost it to Chris Bird. But he became a second champion when he won the WBC title off of the avenged loss of his brother against Corey Saunders, right? Knocked him out in the 8th round. He then defended his title one time against Britain's Danny Williams, and then he retired in 2004 because he was associated with Ukrainian politics. He wanted to focus on that. So he took 4 years off after defending his title one time, right? So when he retired, of course, he had to relinquish the WBC title. He comes back 4 years later, knocks out Samuel Peter, also in the 8th round. At that time, Samuel Peter was the WBC champion, so he becomes champion for a third time, right? This is after a 4-year layoff. Now, Samuel Peter, I gotta mention this. Samuel Peter was the WBC champion because he whooped Oleg Moskayev's ass, right? Became the WBC champion. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, you know, Samuel Peter, motherfuckers that don't know their history, Samuel Peter was old. You know, he wasn't the same Samuel Peter. That's a crock of shit. Samuel Peter only had one loss, and it was to none other than the little brother, right? But then he had a string of wins, one of them being Oleg Moskayev, became the WBC champion, and then he lost it to Vitali Klitschko. Now, Oleg Moskayev was in that fight, was the WBC champion prior to that, after knocking out Hasim Rahman out the motherfucking ring for a second time. People, please, go look at the Oleg Moskayev versus Hasim Rahman fights. This shit is motherfucking comical. The first time they fought was in 99. Oleg Moskayev knocked his ass out the ring. The second time they fought was before Moskayev lost to Samuel Peter for the WBC title. He knocked him out the ring for a second time, B. Nigga back all over the table, fam. The shit was funny as fuck. Check those fights out. But, you know, Oleg Moskayev was just a guy that Hasim Rahman couldn't beat. Was never really a good heavyweight. Samuel Peter showed that by whooping his ass. Anyway, I had to mention that. Shit is funny as fuck every time I see him knock Rahman out the ring twice. But anyway, Vitali takes that belt from him, right? Then he proceeds to defend the belt 10 times, right? The last title defense of that particular WBC title he won in 2008 was in 2012 when he knocked out a confident and undefeated Manuel Charr. Now, I fucking remember Manuel Charr back then. I don't know what country Manuel Charr is from. All I know is I remember this motherfucker had his own music video. You know what I'm saying? And it was a rapper from his country that was rapping about Manuel Charr, how much of a beast he is. You know what I'm saying? Manuel Charr's in the video like, yeah, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Manuel Charr in this bitch. And I'm watching the video like, who the fuck is this nigga? And the video came out right before Vitali Klitschko. You know what I'm saying? And Klitschko went in there and knocked this bum out. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up, B. You can't beat me. You know what I'm saying? So, that shit was funny to me. But it was Vitali's last fight. And of course, in that particular same year, he also beat the shit out of Derek Chisora, a guy who's lost all of his fights with all of his big fights, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, after all of that, do you think it's credible for a 46-year-old man who's known to be one of the best heavyweight boxers of all time to say that at age 46 he could come out of retirement and fuck with the most popular heavyweight right now, Anthony Joshua, who is a very hard hitter? Do you think that's credible? I'll tell you the difference between not agreeing with it and saying it's credible. It's credible because of what Vitali Klitschko has been able to do when he was active. Now, I don't believe it because the nigga's almost 50. You know what I'm saying? And the style that Vitali Klitschko had was a bit robotic. He had that European style shit, standing straight up, you know what I'm saying, hands directly in front of him, not necessarily guarding, you know what I'm saying, his chin, but they would be out directly in front of him. You know, look like that old ass, you know, 1800s Queensberry rules type of fighting and shit. The way them niggas used to stand. That's what Vitali looked like. You know what I'm saying? And that particular style at 46 years old, man, it's going to end bad for you because somebody's going to land. You don't have the same reflexes you used to have. You know what I'm saying? You might have the same mentality. You might have the same IQ, but you ain't got the same reflexes. So you're going to have trouble with a young, powerful fighter that has very fast hands and an excellent jab. And he's about the same height and might have a reach advantage. I'm not exactly sure, but their reaches are in the same range. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have some trouble with that kid. Now, I'm a proponent of the old adage, age don't matter. You know what I'm saying? At my age, I'm in my early 30s. That's old for basketball, but I'm still killing these niggas on the court. You know what I'm saying? I'm still killing niggas, young niggas. Killing niggas that are getting full rides to scholarships and shit to go to college. Right? Killing these niggas. Easy work at my age. So with that said, being a guy who is able to still excel at his sport, right? His favorite sport at a age that is deemed to be old, I can't say Vitali Klitschko won't be able to do that if he's in the gym like he should be. I'm in the gym like I should be. That's why I'm still able to do the shit I can do, right? And I eat right. I take care of my body. If Vitali's still doing that, if he has been training since 2012, it's been 5 years, right? And if he gets a Joshua fight, let's say Joshua entertains this bullshit after Kubrat Pulev, because Lord knows he ain't trying to fight Deontay Wilder. Hell yeah, I just threw shade at that nigga. Let's say he entertains it, right? It'll be in late 2018. So that's 6 years that Vitali has been out of the ring. All I can say is, man, same thing I said about Mikhail Kessler trying to make his comeback recently, right? If this motherfucker has been in the gym training and there hasn't been any problems, he hasn't been, you know, getting injured and anything like that, he's still been able to be true to form, then I say fuck it. Let him do it. But of course, not knowing the specifics of what's going on with Vitali Klitschko, the only thing I know is the nigga's a politician. You know what I'm saying? And politics take up a lot of your time. So not knowing, you know, what he's able to still do in the gym and shit, I'm going to say motherfucker can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I know I just contradicted myself in saying I'm a proponent of the old adage, age doesn't matter. But this shit is unreal. 46 years old and given his style, and he's trying to jump right into the ring. No tune-up. Jump right into the ring with Anthony Joshua, the guy that just knocked out your brother, who's actually younger than you but was still old compared to Anthony Joshua. I don't know, fam. That's a hard task, right? But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Of course, like I said, Anthony Joshua's got Kubrat Pulev. If Vitali Klitschko is really serious about this, a lot of people think he's joking. I think the nigga's serious. If he's really serious about this, then, man, hopefully you've been training this entire 5 years you've been out. And hopefully you training right now. After you gave that fucking interview, you went to the gym, started training. You know what I'm saying? Before I end it, I'll give a little bit more history. The oldest heavyweight people in boxing history is, of course, George Foreman, back when he knocked out Michael Moore in 1994. And then the oldest champion in boxing history is Bernard Hopkins, of course, right? YouTube, do what you do in the comment section. Let me know what you think, but be real. Can Vitali have a real legitimate shot at coming back and fucking with Anthony? Can't even say it without laughing, yo. Fucking with Anthony Joshua. This is real talk for real fans. One.